Good morning, everybody. Let me just say that I am not an academic director. My dear colleague, my esteemed colleague who owns that position should not be afraid that he's been sacked all of a sudden. No, I'm just the Strategic Project Management Office Director. So today, I will discussing simple things, experiences gained so far in our efforts to introduce digital technologies in the agri-food sector. Let me take a minute to check out how this works, says the speaker. I apologize for that. Let's start off with how we perceive the various technologies that we have at hand and where we stand with with respect to each of these categories. We try to have a human-centered perception, man replica. What does a person have? First of all, their senses, which means translates into sensors. And we have made significant progress in Greece in that regard. We've got many sensors in pilot fields, within agricultural businesses, and then we have the human nervous systems. And when we're talking about the American, the farm school, we want the ultra-short LoRa, the 5G, another technology that is opening up new pathways. The steps to make are in that, along that way. We have a long way ahead of us in this field. And we've heard mention of the fact that there is a broadband bandwidth that's missing, actually. We've got the ultra short, which are free and which can allow us to build ICT systems so that private companies can communicate with one another. Then we have, in the human, we have the brain. And we translate that as artificial intelligence, softwares. I think that here we are still at a very early stages in Greece. We need to catch up. Everybody has moved on. We're still acting as toddlers. And then we've got hands, and hands translate into automations. The only progress made so far has had to do with irrigation. Everything else seems, based on our experience, which might be limited, seems to be on a pilot stage. Trying to see the global image, what I'd like to say is that digital technology and other forms of technologies provide solutions to farmers. They're not the solution per se, which means that successful precision and digital agriculture is the winner, but it is the future, but it will have winners and losers, and we want to be among the winners. The risks that it entails have been well detected, identified, recorded by the summit of the agriculture ministers in Berlin in January 2020, and these risks include the digital divide, the new borders that may be geographical and then they may not be, and we're wondering which side of the hedge is Greece on. And then we have a fear of a digital divide in between small scale and big scale, large scale farmers, and to us in Greece this risk is even more marked. Then we have dependency of users on tech providers. This is something which is quite, and I will be a bit bold, a bit daring here. I don't know who makes up the audience. This is especially evident with tractor equipment. buying a digitally improved tractor, you become an employee of the company that sold that digital tractor to you. They tell you that you can't even open up the tractor's hood of the engine. So you provide your data with nobody asking for your permission, because the company wants you to help them improve their equipment so that next year you will buy something even more expensive. And so that the Ministry of Agriculture will come up with new improvement measures that will cost the farmer even more money to gain them. And then we have another risk. Who owns all that data? I've already slightly referred to that, but you can imagine the magnitude of this concern, because it involves farmers, producers, and universities. All the data that we gather from farmers as institutes of knowledge. Who owns that data? And all the progress, the technological progress that we make as knowledge institutions utilizing farmer data. How is that managed? Does it raise obligations on behalf and responsibilities on behalf of the knowledge institutions? And then, of course, we've got the technological sovereignty, but I don't have time to look into that today. Practically speaking, what we've seen now, there are efforts in the past 4 or 5 years to promote digital technologies in Greece. A concern is that we have no impact if we focus on technological solutions regarding and concerning each link of the chain separately. We need to consider technology, perceive technology as the connecting tissue between the various links. And this is the only way that we will be able to speed up this entire procedure. These pictures show above grapes at the Hellenic, and below one of my favorite farmers and crops, bio beans at the Prespa Lakes region. And you might notice that even the photographer cannot make out for sure how they can depict the fact that this is a digital technology solution. They've asked the farmer to look at a box, and that box is the sensor. So what have we identified as the prerequisites for farmers to accept and embrace new technologies? As a farm school and as an intermediate, a mediator rather, in technology approach to farmers, we've seen that the affordability of technology is important. If they've got €2,000 gain from each strema, they will be more willing to listen to us if we tell them that you can make 50,000 out of that strema. And then we look at education, but more in the sense of the farmer's self-confidence and less in the sense of the technological knowledge. Very often we say that these people are conservatives, but we're also discussing people who, because they were enthusiastic, they changed their way they did things, then used a tractor, and in order to use a tractor, all they had to do was know how to drive. Back then, they didn't need to know how to create a tractor. Now we're asking them to learn a few things so that they can become users of the highly technological and high-tech tractor. So they need education so that they get the self-confidence required to enter into that step. And then you need education in the sense of motivation to having agronomist consultants, because farmers want to see results, otherwise they will not bother. There's lots of colleagues or independent agronomists that say that this person is spending so much time to purchase equipment, and they won't spend 200 years for a sensor. They will not spend that amount because they don't know what that sensor is going to help them with. So we need to have an association between technologies and equipment and practical aspects of life. It seems that somebody is threatening me with total extinction at the end of this countdown. Let me move on a bit faster. Irrigation is a field where things are speeding up, but let me just point out something that we see very often. We know that when somebody wastes water, they waste natural resources, they make their plants sick and reduce productivity, yield. Can the farmer understand that on their own? No. Can the agronomist consulting the farmer, who will make his income primarily from the chemicals that they will sell to the farmer, will they tell the farmer, will this agronomist tell the farmer that if you irrigate too much, you increase the risk of plant diseases and you will need more drugs from me, more chemicals? Will they do that? No. Does the farmer pay for the water? Not really. So do they have any reason to spend it less? So another question. Will the farmer change their behavior? Well, it's kind of difficult based on the way things stand today. We also need to speed through the scenario that we investigate as the American Farm School. One scenario is that pressure from large retailers, and we're working with the Alpha Vita Vasilopoulos supermarket chain, as part of the Deleuze group. They have integrated in Greece specific farming programs, and we've looked at CSR as well, and they use this for digital technologies provision to their suppliers for 3 years. And now, for the first time, they're asking us to consult, to provide advice to the suppliers. How can they decrease their environmental footprint? In collaboration with Cool Farm Alliance, which is a global organization for environmental metrics. So experimentally speaking and practically speaking, we see that the farmers included in this network are willing to work in that direction. And the reason they're willing to do so is that they know that whatever they've been doing with us for the past 3 years, and whatever they will do with us for the next couple of years on a voluntary basis, will be mandatory in the near future. So things are getting serious. The second thing we're trying to do, perhaps it's early stages, maybe next year we'll be able to disclose more, is how we can use vertical clusters to create this dynamic, not by having one strong player and their suppliers, but a series, a host of retailers, a host of packers, a host of suppliers, farmers. We have used NSRF projects to come up with a cluster that tries to be a nationwide network, the connective tissue being, of course, connectivity through LoRa network that includes sensors. This is where I'll stop, because now we're going through this stage where ESPA, the NSRF, is providing, not to us, but to the companies partnering in this network, funds for projects that we have designed throughout all stages of the production procedure, from intelligent agriculture and traceability all the way to mass consumption and mass restoration. And I see that we have among us a representative of the political elite, and our great complaint is that is the time. I was able to design something innovative. We were able to design something innovative 2 years ago. But if you fund me for that in 2 years' time, it will no longer be innovative. Things will have surpassed my innovation. So this is what I had to say. I didn't want to take up any more of the time. Thank you very much for your attention.